Good morning, everyone, and we are going to gather in song this morning. We're going to be singing number 347, Gather the Spirit. So please rise in body and spirit wherever you are and join with us in singing Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Oh, let this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
We gather out of our many separate rooms into this sanctuary of love, hope, and resistance, this place of resilience that we return to each week, season after season, to reground ourselves, reorient ourselves to that wheel of life that turns around us, gather strength for the coming days, and today to recognize and honor the solstice as we enter this shortest day of the year and into the longest night. The wheel of the year turns, and we gather again here at the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara. Welcome to you all. I'm the Reverend Julia Hamilton. My pronouns are she, her, and I am delighted to have you with us this morning, whether this is your 400th Sunday or your 4th Sunday or your first Sunday. It is good to be together here. If you'd like to know more about this congregation, you can always click that visitor link if you're joining us in our online sanctuary, or stop by our welcome table in the garden after the service to find out more. We have a visitor orientation on the second Sunday of every month, so coming up in January, you can gather with other newcomers to find out more about what's going on here. And of course, at any time when you are ready to call this place your home, if you have found your people here, we welcome you into membership. Just stop by our membership table or talk to Kiara, and we'd love to get to know you and answer any questions you might have. We here at the Unitarian Society are a loving community of seekers, striving to live with integrity, nurture wonder, and inspire the actions that transform us and transform the world. We have a lot going on this season, this holiday season, as we are bringing this year to a close. And I want to highlight a couple of those opportunities for connecting beyond Sunday morning. This evening, we will be having what is now our annual solstice gathering at Goleta Beach. I think we've done it 4 times, Charlotte. So we can call it our annual solstice gathering now. At 4 o'clock, watching the sun go down at Goleta Beach with candles and song and some simple readings, a lovely opportunity to get out into nature together on this day. We also have an opportunity to join with the wider community at the longest night observance at the courthouse. This is an annual observance where we honor those who have died on the streets, unsheltered in Santa Barbara, holding in our hearts the most vulnerable on this longest night, and recommitting to the work of making this community a place where everyone has a safe and warm spot to lay their head and be safe on long winter nights. Many thanks to all of you who are helping our warming centers get up and going. We are getting ready for a big storm here coming this week, so I know a lot of you who are on our hospitality teams are preparing to be here over Christmas to welcome our guests and feed them good food and offer them a safe and dry place to stay. So thank you to the dozens and dozens of people who make this possible every season. We also, of course, are heading towards Christmas Eve on Wednesday night, which means our 3 delightful, different Christmas Eve services at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Our 5 o'clock family service, where we retell the Christmas story in a sort of improvisational style, is loads of fun. All ages are welcome to participate. Our 7 o'clock is our lessons and carols, where we listen to the words of the Christmas story and we hear beautiful music from our choir and musicians. And our 9 o'clock is our jazz service, where we have our beloved now jazz combo that returns year after year to put a little swing in our carols and close the night out with a lovely, lovely feeling. So join us at one or all of them if you're feeling up for it. I invite you now to take a breath, to settle yourself wherever you are. Whatever lists you have waiting for you out in the world, you can set them down for this hour and give yourself the gift of presence together as we ring our bell and let the sound connect us.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Mary Geer. On this winter night, infinite web of life, spirit of love, great mystery that is darkness. On this darkest night, may we observe the stars. On this longest night, may we find rest. On this winter night, may we feel warmth. On this night, this magical night, may our minds see the infinity of space. May our bodies find rest, and may our spirits feel the warmth of community. May this be so. Blessed be. Now, every week, as you may know, we find a good thing going on in the world and share it. Today's good thing that I have found is that in different parts of the world, abandoned oil refineries are becoming unlikely havens for wildlife, including thousands of insects, birds, plants, and other species. One place this is happening is Canvey Wick on the Thames estuary in Essex, UK. In this place, nightingale numbers are on the rise, as well as insects, including rare and threatened species such as the shrill carder bee. I'd like to learn more about the shrill carder bee. Another place this is happening is West Coyote Hills near Fullerton, California, down in the south. In California, more than 500 acres have regenerated into coastal sage scrub, alive with California gnatcatchers, a threatened bird species. Seasonal rains from vernal pools support wildflowers and amphibians there. And that's a good thing.
We gather here to nurture our spirits and connect with one another. So I'm going to invite you now into just a brief moment of connection, to turn to the person next to you and say hello, to welcome them, introduce yourself, and then we will return to sing together.
It makes sense for me to just stay up.
I am going to invite you all to now close out your conversations and continue them after the service. We are going to sing, as we do on each of the solstices and equinoxes, the chant for the seasons with the verse appropriate to the season, in this case, winter. So number 73, the chant for the seasons, please rise in body and spirit.
Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Gray the windy storms, cold upon our cheeks, the wet rain glistens, glistens. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us. Leaping is the fire, golden in the glass, the cider glows like amber. Autumn cold has turned the star wheel, winter is upon us.
Good morning, everyone. I am Charla Brigante, your Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, and it is time for a story for all ages. And I'd like to invite, thank you, Aldo's got this down. I'd like to invite any kids of all sizes and ages to come forward. Today, you might want to sit just on that front pew. I'm thinking might be good. Here we go. We've got our RE teachers coming up. So great. Welcome, everyone. While you're coming up, I hope some of you will be joining me. Whoa! Hi, Jasper. I hope some of you will be joining me tonight at Goleta Beach for the solstice ceremony that we do. In addition to the candles and the reading and the song, there are cookies and cider and a little activity for kids too. So it really is an event for all ages. Welcome, everyone. So the last couple of weeks, we have had so much fun celebrating the holidays here. Haven't we? Don't you guys think we have? Yes, I loved seeing all the terrific crafts you all made at the craft party. Who made one of those snow people? Yes, a few of you. Who made and ate a ice cream cone Christmas tree? I couldn't think of what it was. Oh, somebody back there did. Yes, I see some people back there who did. Who made a wreath? Anybody here make a wreath? Yeah. All right, you grown-ups need to craft a little more next year. I'm not seeing your hands up. And then there was the play last Sunday, the Grinch, the Grandpa, and the Greens, and the surprise order of service. That was so fun. I didn't know we had so many talented actors here at USSB. Some of you were bees, forest animals, and UUs from UUville. So you played multiple parts, and I think you did a great job sharing stories from some of the winter holidays with our congregation. Don't you all agree? Yeah. So now, kids, I need you to think back a few weeks before all the holidays. And who remembers what we were exploring in our RE classes back then? Do we have our slide up there? Does anyone remember what we've been exploring all fall? I know, it's been distracting with all these holidays. That might give you a hint. Aldo? Transformation was one of the things we were exploring, and transformation means changing by learning and growing. Anyone else know what else we were exploring? Justice, yes, justice, which means a fair and balanced world for everyone. That's the one we haven't done yet. Let's come back to that one. Equity we did, which means everyone gets what they need and everyone has different needs. Pluralism, which means welcoming all kinds of people, ideas, and beliefs. And interdependence, which means everyone and everything is connected. So what we were exploring all fall, was our UU shared values, things that we all agree are important in the world. And you already said there was one that we haven't explored yet, and that is generosity. We haven't explored that one yet. So, yes? Jasper thinks it's kindness. What do you guys think? Does generosity sounds like kindness to me? Anyone else have any ideas what generosity might mean? Giving. Joy. Sharing. You guys got this down. Being nice. Yeah. Joy. Fair. Yeah, that's some of the other ones too. Okay. Giving someone a hug when they're sad, exactly. So you guys have this down. You could lead this. It's about giving and giving from the heart, right? And it's not just, as Joy pointed out, or all of you, it's not just about giving things, right? It's about giving from our heart. So today in our RE class, we're gonna all be together and we're gonna put our shared value of generosity into action. We are going to make 60 gift bags for our guests at the Freedom Warming Center. And some of you might not know what the Freedom Warming Center is, but on rainy or very cold nights, some churches open their doors to give people who don't have a place to live a dry and warm place to sleep. And they usually make them a hot meal too. And the Unitarian Society is one of the churches that does that. So we become a warming center on those cold and rainy nights, and we will become one this week. So remember the socks you also generously brought to our Thanksgiving service? There's that generosity value again. A lot of people here brought socks. Well, those socks are going to be part of our gift bags, along with some other things that are helpful for people living on the streets. So how do we know what people living on the street need? They tell us. We ask them, exactly, and we listen to what they tell us. And they also have to walk everywhere. Yeah, Jasper, you're right. Yeah, if you travel, you have to pay to do a taxi. There's a lot that you need money and help with, right? So listening is so important, isn't it? Joy?
Why don't we put money in the bags? Because when your house burns down, so does your money and all of the stuff that you actually kind of need.
You're right.
So why don't we give them money?
That's something we can talk about. Let's talk about that later. Why don't we give them money? So listening, you guys are good listeners. Listening is so important, isn't it? Listening to friends and family, listening to our hearts, and even listening to nature and the earth. Does anyone know what today is? Joy? It is Sunday. The 21st of December. Think back to our play about holly and oak last week. It is the winter solstice, in fact. And that's the day when we have the darkest, the longest night, where it's darkest, the longest, and the shortest amount of sunlight. And the winter solstice is a good time to slow down and listen to nature. So before we go off and start exploring our value of generosity, Julia and Justine are going to share a winter solstice ritual with us to honor this day. So I'm going to come join you over here.
That's right. And this is a ritual we have done before on the solstice, so some of you might be familiar with this, but we've added a piece that I'm going to need you all to help me with the grown-ups in the congregation. So keep your ears open for the part when I'm going to need your help in this ritual. Justine's going to start us off.
All right. So as you know, I'm Justine. I call myself your friendly neighborhood pagan. I like to be here to usher us through some of these traditions. So glad to be here for this today. The calling in of the four directions. So in the pagan tradition, which is grounded in a respect and a reverence for the natural world, calling in the four directions is the usual way to begin a ritual. Each direction is associated with an element of the natural world and also represents some part of our human nature. The directions are not seen as separate and isolated, but rather as part of the interdependent system that makes up the world. Here on our altar, we have the symbolic elements for each direction, and we will travel through the meanings associated with each one. So we begin in the east, toward the rising sun. The element of the east is air, represented on our altar by a feather. Air and breath give us life. It is the direction of inspiration, the word that literally means to take in air. The east is associated with the mind, with knowledge and learning and intellectual curiosity. Imagine the birds turning and wheeling in the air. Imagine the breeze blowing through your hair. When we turn towards the east, we look for a fresh start, an invigorating breath, a new idea. When you are feeling stuck in a rut or indebted to a routine, or if the wind has gone out of your sails, look eastward.
All right, so here's where I'm going to need you to help me, because we're going to do a gesture for each direction. So the east, because it's about waking up our mind, let's put our hands on top of our head. You can put one or both hands on top of your head like this, just like you had a big idea or a big thought. Oh my goodness. Maybe take in a big, deep breath. When you have your arms up like this, it expands your lungs so you can take big, deep breaths. All right, now you can put your arms down and let's see where the next direction takes us.
Thank you, Reverend Julia. Thank you, children. We move around the wheel to the south. The element of the south is fire, and the southern place on our altar, the flame of our chalice, burns bright. Fire is a transformative force. It is heat and light and powerful change. In the northern hemisphere, it makes sense that we associate the south, towards the equator, with the warmth of the sun and the heat of the flame. We see birds move south, butterflies move south, whales move south, seeking warmer places when the weather gets cold. When our internal weather gets cold, turning south is a metaphor for turning toward warmth and daylight, seeking out the changes that will warm us up, get our blood moving, call us out of our winters, out of hibernation, into action.
So the south is where fire lives on our altar. So we're going to make fire fingers. You can do this with one or both hands, right? Get that blood flowing into your fingertips, wake you up. See how fast you can, oh my gosh, it's like little flicker. If you want to stand up here, you can look out, like little flickering flames all over the congregation. It's about action and motion, so get those fingers wiggling. Excellent work, everyone. All right, we can pause our fingers, and let's keep going around the wheel.
Thank you. Continuing around the circle, we arrive in the west. The element of the west is water, and here on our altar we have some of the water collected at our ingathering services each September. We add to this water each year, symbolizing the way we come together in our community as individual drops join into a mighty river. In the West, we are drawn into the experience of our emotions. It is a direction that calls us to self-reflection and self-understanding. Our emotions move in us like water, flowing through our lives, sometimes calm and sometimes turbulent, but always flowing. When we dam up our feelings, just like when we dam up a river, the pressure builds until it finds an outlet. If you are seeking to get in touch with your inner life, with your emotions, turn towards the west.
The west is water, so let's see if we can all make flowing, watery hands. You can do it with both of your hands or one of your hands. The west is about expressing ourselves. This is almost like dancing. You can go in all kinds of different directions. You can move like the waves in the ocean. Let your hands dance and flow just like the water. However you're feeling right now, express it through your hands. Beautifully done. All right, we have one more direction to follow on the wheel.
Beautiful. I love being up here and just seeing all the movement in the congregation. Okay, we move now to the north. The element of the north is earth, represented here by a stone sitting atop some dirt from our very own garden. There is stability in the north, the ground of our being. The north represents the place that holds us, that allows us time and space to heal and grow, to feel nurtured and respected. It is also the place of embodiment, of connecting with our physical self, the tangible world around us. The north calls to you if you are seeking balance, the deep wisdom that lives in your bones, a place of rest and recovery.
All right, so since the north is about getting in touch with our bodies, about holding, we're going to give ourselves a big hug for the north. Can you do that? Just wrap your arms around yourself. This is what we do when we're cold, right? We hug ourselves like this, right? We also hug other people sometimes when they need something to help hold them, or we can hug ourselves when we need a hug. Can you feel how solid you are? Can you feel your bones and your muscles? Sometimes we all need a hug. So now we're going to go through, and if anybody wants to join me up here, we need help reminding the congregation of these, because I'm going to ask everybody to pick the direction that calls to you this morning and do whatever gesture it is that is calling to you, that is speaking to you, where you need some help. So let's remind the folks of the actions, right? Do you remember what happens when you get a bright idea from the east? It's this gesture, right? What happens when you need to get moving with some fire from the south, right? This gesture. What about when you have big feelings like water? This gesture. And what about when you need a big hug from the north? All right, so on the count of 3, everybody do the gesture that calls to you this morning. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Look at all these different experiences.
Oh, wow.
Everybody is moving in some way. Wonderful. Thank you so much for going through the wheel of the solstice with us, and happy solstice, everyone. We will now sing our kids out to their work with generosity this morning.
We hold you in our love as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
Every Sunday, we take a moment with our monarch branch. Each butterfly on this branch represents someone who was taken from our community by ice over this past year. And this week, we have 6 butterflies in our bowl by our menorah to remember the 6 people who have been abducted from Santa Barbara County last week. We will ring our bell 6 times for each person. And in doing so, we commit to bearing witness until this violence against our neighbors ends.
winter solstice. It's also referred to as Yule. Who's heard the term Yule for pagan Christmas time, solstice? Yeah. So the word Yule means wheel. So we talk about the wheel of the year, right? The various pagan holidays that we recognize coming on a wheel. So the turning wheel has brought us now to the shortest day, the deepest night, the quietest time. Let's all take a breath together. Here we go. Breathe in and out. So solstice is a time that's connected with the earth, right? It's dark, it's deep, it's fertile. And we're going and talking about how embodying the time, feeling it in our bodies. I invite you now to enter a period of quiet for a guided meditation. You may wish to adjust your position so that your spine is straight, your body relaxed, your hands resting gently in your lap. Whether you are here in our sanctuary or at home, watching digitally or watching this recording later, adjust this to whatever feels right for you in your space. You will probably want to close your eyes and shut out all the distractions of the light. This is up to you. You might want to just soften your gaze. So let's again just take a few deep, slow breaths. Here we go. Feel your breath come into your lungs and then release. And again, in and release. One more together, in and out. With your vision muted, notice what your other senses are telling you. You may feel a sense of pressure in your back or your sitting bones, where your body comes in contact with your chair or whatever surface you're on. You may have feelings of tightness in your shoulders or along the jawline. Release any areas of tension that you notice. Soften your neck and the swallowing muscles. Release any tension you feel in your abdomen. Imagine the inner organs in your belly letting go of tension. Soften your eyes. Let them feel warm and relaxed, as if you're floating in a pool of water. Inhale. Exhale. You may notice strange sensations, such as a tingling in a muscle or a ticklish feeling on the skin. Whatever comes to your awareness is okay. Just acknowledge it in the silence. Let us turn our attention to the sounds around us. What do you notice in the sanctuary? You may hear your own breathing or growling stomach. You may hear a neighbor shifting position, perhaps cars passing on the street, and wind blowing by the outer walls of the building. Having acknowledged these outward sounds, let us turn our focus inward now. Thoughts may float through your consciousness. You can just let them float on by. Feelings may bubble up from some deeper place within you. You don't have to name the feeling or put any words to it. Just notice if there is anything there for you with gentle acceptance. Now imagine your body and mind are filled with darkness and silence, like the deep, dark night in a wilderness. Take comfort in the stillness, the restfulness of this space within you. Don't try to make anything happen. Just rest in this inner darkness, knowing that you are safe in this moment. You can simply be. Breathe in and out. In the quiet corners within, let us sense the healing powers of the body, the amazing ability of our soft animal body to restore damaged cells, to create new healthy cells, to bring balance to systems that have gotten out of whack. Let us acknowledge, too, the creative powers of our minds and hearts. From the mysterious inner regions comes all poetry, all music. From the inner dark emerges all sculpture and dance, all the art and cultures that are the heritages of humanity. Even consciousness itself, the great unsolved mystery of science, resides in the deep unknown of ourselves. Continue to be with your breath and a still, quiet mood as you rest a while longer in the darkness, with humility and awe and gratitude for all the powers of the darkness within yourself. We'll now take a few more moments in silence.
I invite you to stay where you are as our singers come forward for the winter solstice chant.
Children of the earth, we have come to sing to each other, sister to brother, songs of our mother earth. Children of the earth, autumn soon will breathe her last breath, and quick will her deathbed witness to winter's birth. Children of the earth, can you feel the air getting cold as darkness takes hold and sleep covers Mother Earth? Children of the earth, we have come to sit in the darkness, breathe in the silence, think of our Mother Earth.
Our reading this morning is a poem by David White called The Winter of Listening. No one but me by the fire, my hands burning red in the palms, while the night wind carries everything away outside. All this petty worry, while the great cloak of the sky grows dark and intense round every living thing. What is precious inside us does not care to be known by the mind in ways that diminish its presence. What we strive for in perfection is not what turns us into the lit angel we desire. What disturbs and then nourishes has everything we need. What we hate in ourselves is what we cannot know in ourselves, but what is true to the pattern does not need to be explained. Inside everyone is a great shout of joy waiting to be born. Even with the summer so far off, I feel it grown in me now and ready to arrive in the world. All those years, listening to those who had nothing to say. All those years, forgetting how everything has its own voice to make itself heard. All those years, forgetting how easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. And the slow difficulty of remembering how everything is born from an opposite and miraculous otherness. Silence and winter has led me to that otherness. So let this winter of listening be enough for the new life I must call my own. Here ends our reading. As we prepare for our offertory, we acknowledge that every month here at the Unitarian Society, we give away a portion of what we collect to a project or a program that lives our values in the world. In this month of December, our partner is Blue, Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. Blue is a network across our denomination that supports and affirms Black Unitarian Universalists, gives them a space within a wider denomination for ritual and celebration, for grief and connection and community, and we support them in this important work within our faith. Please give as generously as you can to support this and the work of this congregation, and read with me the affirmation of gratitude and giving. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Thank you, Heather. It is always a pleasure to listen to you play. Good morning, everyone. We are in the thick of the holiday season, aren't we? You can feel it in this now that we have the greens in the space. Thank you to the Flower Committee and all those who came yesterday to add the greenery to this sanctuary. It is so beautiful in here this time of year. And we have plenty of extra greens if you want to take some home. If you're inspired by the solstice to put some greens up in your place of living, please take some greens with you home today to decorate. Being part of a Unitarian Universalist congregation in December is a whirlwind of holiday activity. As Charla shared this morning, we honor the many traditions celebrated among us, that pluralism that enriches our shared life. We talked about Advent on the first Sunday of the month. Last Sunday, as part of our holiday play, we celebrated solstice and Hanukkah and Christmas all in one beautiful package. We have 8 candles on our menorah today because today is the 8th and last night of Hanukkah. And on Wednesday night here in the sanctuary, we will be gathering for Christmas Eve. And then coming up, we have the New Year with our Burning Bowl service coming up on the second Sunday in January. One holiday just rolling right into the other. And today at 7:03 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the sun was centered over the Tropic of Capricorn, which is the marker of the winter solstice. And if you want to cheer for it, you can. That is also part of the solstice tradition, right? Cheering for the sun and the return of longer days, this being the shortest day of the year. And this evening, we will watch the sun set on the shortest day over the Pacific Ocean and welcome the longest night. Every holiday we celebrate has this deep and rich tradition out of which it arises among us. So when December rolls around, one of my tasks in preparation is to ask, what gifts does each holiday have to offer us in this moment? What themes arise to speak to us now? What wisdom and strength can we find that will carry us into the new year and sustain us through whatever may come in 2026. It's not every year that winter solstice falls right on a Sunday morning, so I feel like this is an especially auspicious time to recognize that turning. What is the gift that solstice offers us this year? And coming across David Whyte's poem helped point the way for me. How easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. How easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. How often we forget that. Perhaps in this busy time of year, in this overwhelmingly noisy world, how many of you have felt overwhelmed this year by the noise of the world? Few hands there. We spend so much time with that noise that solstice arrives with this instruction: settle down, and listen. We spend so much time with those loud voices that say nothing, as David Whyte said, or at least nothing of depth or meaning or kindness or care, a tale full of sound and fury signifying nothing, as Macbeth observed in this cautionary tale Shakespeare told about a life filled with meaningless action. As Whyte says in his poem, all this petty worry, while the great cloak of the sky grows dark and intense round every living thing. All that time spent forgetting that there is something else underneath all that noise, an interdependence at its foundation, a sense of meaningful connection between us all and between all that is, a feeling of being part of that wheel, that something larger, that feeling that flourishes when we slow down and take the time to notice. We become estranged from that feeling of connection and even from ourselves when we spend too long in the bright rush of day. We need that balancing time. So let us settle down and listen. On one of our trips to the Hopi Reservation, these trips to our friends on Hopi that we've been taking for many, many years now, when we go out there, we camp on the property of our friend Dee Satella. Dee, who practices traditional Hopi pottery and lives as close to the earth as just about anyone I know. He literally spends his days with his hands in the clay that he digs himself from where he lives, his house off the grid. I remember him telling me about wintertime on Hopi. We usually go out there in the spring, but each season has its own rhythm. And wintertime, he said, is when stories are told, when people gather in homes and speak in soft voices. It's a time, he said, when you are asked to walk gently on the earth, even noticing the sound of your footfalls and becoming gentler so as not to disturb her while she sleeps and regenerates. There are no drums in the songs during this time, only voices. And there are certain stories that are only told during winter, stories you can only hear if you lean in close to the low voice of an elder speaking from their favorite chair in a warm living room, wood stove in the corner, a thin blanket of snow wrapping the desert in the moisture that will bring life to the plants in just a few months' time. Seasons matter. A story told at the wrong time skips over the surface like a flat stone. The winter solstice reminds us to slow down, to listen, to let the stories sink in. All these stories that we share at this time of year, let them sink in. Let the ripples spread out long after the stone is cast. The winter solstice reminds us that when that stream of commentary, that surface chatter gets too loud, when the screens get too bright and we start to feel ourselves shut down just out of self-preservation, the winter solstice says, I am here, the earth is here. We can reset, restart, let the darkness settle around us for a little while. In that quiet space, listen. Start by listening to the earth itself. Notice the changes. Even here in Santa Barbara, where we have no snow, we still have our seasons. The light changes. The rains come and soften the ground, which is hard from a long, dry summer. Winter here may not be about snow and frost, but it still invites us into that softening, that softer way of being, the sound of rain on the roof, the smell of the soil, the mushrooms sprouting in those shady corners. Has anybody else seen the mushrooms that have been flourishing right now? The soft pinks and purples of the winter sunset on the mountains, the early dark. If we have forgotten how to listen, the earth can remind us and show us that communication is always happening in all kinds of ways, even the ones that don't use words. I recently learned that mushrooms listen. They have no auditory capabilities, they don't have ears, but mushrooms listen. They respond to sound. The mycologist Paul Stamets has been trying to figure out why. What evolutionary purpose would it possibly have for a mushroom to listen to sound? And he has a theory that when a storm is coming, long before the rain arrives, what happens? Thunder starts to roll across the landscape. Often the first sound we receive, the first indication that a storm is coming, is that we can hear the thunder. And studies have shown that when mushrooms are exposed to low-frequency sound waves, it stimulates their growth. Thunder is a low-frequency sound wave. So Stamets believes that mushrooms, over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution, have learned to listen for the thunder because it means a storm is coming. And it means that the rain and the lightning, which it turns out are both beneficial to mushrooms, need to be prepared for. The rain for obvious reasons, right? We all know that mushrooms sprout after rain. But evidently, when the electricity from lightning goes through the ground, it also stimulates growth. And so when mushrooms hear that thunder, or that feeling of thunder, it wakes them up. And they start producing the nutrients they will need to take advantage of that moment of growth that is coming with the rain and the lightning. They can take advantage of that storm. And it turns out that in all kinds of ancient cultures, from Egypt to Japan to ancient Greece, there have been stories about mushrooms springing from lightning bolts, springing up where lightning bolts have struck the earth. Even then, people who paid attention to the natural world noticed that relationship between thunderstorms and places where lightning strikes and the growth of mushrooms. And folklore and stories pointed to what scientists like Stamets would confirm with studies and experiments: that underground mycelial networks and far-off thunder in the clouds are somehow in this subtle conversation that we can catch glimpses of when we pay attention, when we slow down and listen to what the world around is teaching us. The author Ursula Le Guin says that listening is not a reaction, it is a connection. Listening to a conversation or a story, we don't so much respond as join in. We become part of the action, she says, by listening. The mushrooms listen for the thunder, preparing to connect with the storm, ready to take action when that electricity hums through the ground. We can learn to listen for connection too. The winter solstice reminds us that the deep stories, the slow stories that unfold like a mushroom after the rain, stories that only get told by firelight, that only get told when there is space and breath and quiet, that only get told when the phones are turned off for a few hours, and I swear I didn't plan that. When we begin to wake up, to listen to that low frequency of an elder's voice, to listen for the rumble that communicates something important is coming. These stories are not just about passing time until the sun returns. Listening in this way is this creative collaboration between ourselves and the world. It builds these networks of connection that support us and nourish us and keep us alive and thriving. These networks of connection that keep us alive. It prepares us for storms. It stimulates growth even when that growth is mostly underground and unseen. So much of the way we listen in our everyday living is not about slow connection, is it? It's about the quick response. It's about you talk, I talk, then you talk again. We get impatient with the person who overshares with the clerk at the checkout line of the store. We tune out of the meeting until it's our turn on the agenda. We watch that how-to video on double speed so we can get right to the answer. Has any of you ever done that? I will confess, I have done that. Learning how to fix my sink without having to listen to the plumber drone on and on about the difference between a monkey wrench and a pipe wrench, right? Speed it up, get to the point. Or maybe what we listen for is not just about information, but about reaction. There's a whole genre of videos out there which are just watching other people react to other people. Taking ourselves out of the question altogether, being neither listener nor speaker, just observer. Pundits and opinion writers react on our behalf to the news. Reviewers react on our behalf to movies. And soon there'll be AI-generated algorithms reacting to AI-generated content while we just watch from the sidelines. We have to get back into that connective listening, that relational listening, that participatory listening, and not be observers to life, but deeply embedded and rooted within it. Or perhaps, like I do, you find yourself listening out of fear. fear for what is about to drop, fear for the next terrible thing headed your way, the next catastrophe to be unleashed, listening so that you're not taken by surprise, so that you can protect yourself. But perhaps we need to drop that too in the way we listen. Drop down into something deeper, listening without that need to react as participant, the kind of listening that winter solstice invites us into. Pressing our ear to the ground, listening for the subtle changes, the quiet growth in the soft earth, without the illusion that there is anything separating us, knowing that we are interdependent with the larger whole. This is the listening that nourishes us until the sun returns, that coils our energy until the spring arrives, right? That word spring, that release of energy that right now we are gathering among us, renewing, reconnecting, settling down. As the poet said, how easily you can belong to everything simply by listening. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Let us sing together one more time, number 55, Dark of Winter. Please rise in body and spirit. So go ahead and stay right where you are. And if you want to put your hands over your heart, or if you have permission to hold hands with someone next to you, or hold them open, however it is, Matthew, may I hold your hand? However it is that you get connected to that larger love that moves through us. And as you go out into this beautiful and heartbreaking world, may the light of love shine upon you, out from within you, be gracious unto you, and bring you peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And let us call out a blessing.
unaccustomed as we are.
You too, man.